Welcome back. We told you about the situation in Georgia, but that is not the only instance of voter irregularities that we are hearing about. So we'll start in Nevada, for example. The Clark County Commission just threw out an election, a local election, that represents a sixth of the total votes cast in Clark County because there were too many discrepancies to be sure that the results in that specific election locally could be certain. That's 153,000 votes specifically in that election. Take it to Pennsylvania. According to Trump campaign data strategists, 100% of the people in the sample are registered Republicans. And there were 165,000 Republicans that were mailed absentee, but were not marked as returning them. So a lot to talk about here. Again, you're hearing the irregularities. What do you make of this? How far does it go? Amanda Mackey is an attorney, a Republican strategist, joining us live for us today. Brian Trasher, he's a Trump for President 2020 surrogate and Trump Recount Committee. Good to see both of you here. Thanks so much for coming on. Amanda, I'll start with you. What do you specifically make of these irregularities? I point out a couple of them, but we've heard and seen even more.
Nevada, Georgia, Pennsylvania, potentially states in the Midwest like Wisconsin and Michigan. We've been hearing this for the last now 2 weeks from the Trump campaign, and this is real. We cannot ignore that these irregularities have happened. Fraud has happened. Joe Gloria, who oversees the elections in Clark County, has said that he can't tell if the county commission race really the margin of victory was valid. He may have to redo the race. One of the attorneys in that case has said 93,000 votes has potentially flooded this Clark County Commission race. And so I think it's very valid that the president is moving forward with his claims. 72 million people voted for the president, and 70% of Republicans believe that a free and fair election did not happen on November 3rd. So I think these irregularities are real. The American people deserve to know that their elections and their integrity of their vote counted. And I'm glad that we're going forward. But there's a lot to unearth here.
Brian Trasher, I'll bring you to this, take you to Georgia, the Peach State, Floyd County ballots. They found 2,600 votes just recently from reports there. 800 of those reportedly went to President Trump. But again, another sign of irregularities, and this one called out by the Secretary of State in Georgia.
Yeah, Sean, and that's just one of many examples that were found throughout all of these so-called swing states that were close in the election count. But, Amanda nailed it just now, outlining the irregularities and potential fraud we've seen done manually by human beings. But now that we have seized the servers for Dominion that were over in Germany, and we're starting to get some raw data off of that, I know you guys have a huge audience now, Sean. Congratulations for that. But I want everybody to listen to me. The things that are going to come out are going to shake the globalists to their very core. And when President Trump is declared the winner of this election, what you saw last weekend in the streets, Trump supporters getting attacked in D.C., that's nothing. These people are coming for every city and every suburb, so be prepared because this is happening and you need to protect yourself.
Brian, let me go back to you. You said things are going to come out. What things?
Well, like I said, the servers that were seized in Germany, first of all, why are American election ballots being counted overseas? That's a question that we have to get to the bottom of. But some of the raw data coming off of this is showing clear examples of how votes were actually switched by an algorithm in the software. It was distributed for every single votes that go one way for one candidate. They automatically add votes another. That's why you saw even the New York Times own data tracker on election night. Within 68 seconds, President Trump went from being ahead by tens of thousands of votes, I think it was in Wisconsin, to all of a sudden being behind 10,000 votes in 68 seconds. That's a statistical anomaly. It cannot happen.
So what you're pointing to specifically, you think a bombshell announcement is going to happen with Dominion voting systems, the software that was used on Dominion specifically. Is that correct? Is that what I'm reading?
The fact that Dominion and Smartmatic have become household names in America is freaking the Democrats out. You can see them on Twitter. You can see the media melting down, just absolutely amplifying their false claims that there's no evidence. There's evidence that's being filed in courts all over the country. And today is the first time that we're actually going to be appearing in federal court. All these little suits that got dismissed here and there were all state courts run by Democrat hack judges. So we're about to see the real deal start, and this is going all the way to the Supreme Court, Sean.
Amanda, let me bring you into that. Do you have any comment on that, what Brian just said?
I think that there certainly are irregularities, and, I think that what we know is that there are ties with Dominion to very liberal and fundraisers for the Democrats. There are ties to Venezuela and Hugo Chavez. These are things that should concern every American. I can't speak to the specifics of what is exactly going to happen with Dominion, but I can say, having done a lot of research on what has happened since Tuesday in these battleground states, we have a lot of work to do, and the Trump campaign is right to bring these suits for the American people, really on behalf of the American people. This is good for democracy, and I've said this all along. Joe Biden should be pushing for this. He should be pushing to make sure that the integrity of every American's vote has counted, and he has not done that. In fact, they've done just the opposite. They've done a victory lap when there are all these allegations, whether it's Dominion, whether it's finding votes, whether it's everything that's happening in Pennsylvania on equal protection grounds and due process. This is far from over.
Well, something's got to happen this week. There's no doubt about it, one way or the other. The certification process among states begins, I believe, November 20th, and it'll move on through. So you would have to see something by then, unless it gets delayed, and this is a whole different ballgame that none of us have ever seen. Nevertheless, about time. Amanda Mackey, good to see you. Brian Trasher, thank you so much. Always great to hear from you guys.
Thank you.
Still lots of questions about Dominion and the Dominion software. We're going to talk about it. Also, there's a divide in the Democratic Party. Will Speaker Pelosi remain as Speaker of the House? We'll talk about it right after this.